Hey there! Welcome to a brand new episode of Celluloid Nation. I know you probably thought this show was dead. Um, I decided to bring it back because the reason why I had not been doing it was because of technical difficulties. I've finally figured out how to fix that, and also just been really busy. I've been working and stuff like that. And you have school and so on and so forth. And then I had another podcast I was doing, and I guess I just kind of ran out of stuff to talk about. But with new trailers that have come out, as well as a bunch of other stuff, I definitely wanted to get on and discuss some things. And uh, as it was with the majority of all the other episodes, I am joined with my good friend, Matt.
Hello there. This is Matt, aka Ramble for Life. Thanks for having me on here once again.
Anytime, anytime. So we're just gonna dive right into it. We're gonna talk about some trailers. Uh, the first one I want to talk about is Hellboy. What the hell was that?
Butt Boy,
Yeah, I mean, fuck that was
made by a bunch of butt boys.
it. Just I wasn't expecting a lot, because it's a reboot and everything. But I'd heard people talking about how it's rated R, and it's more serious. And the trailer is like 90% comedy. And unlike the other Hellboy films,
Rated R for rat shit.
none of the comedy in this is funny. It's varying levels of cringe. And I like David Harbour. I thought he was
It's
fantastic in Stranger
they won
Things.
Guardians of the Galaxy money.
Yeah,
They won Guardians of the Galaxy money or Deadpool money.
Marvel money. And
Mm-hmm.
going back to what I was saying, I like David Harbour. I think he's a great actor. I love him in Stranger Things, but he's miscast here. His line delivery is pathetic. It's awkward. It's stilted. Is he trying to have some kind of accent? I don't know what he's doing. It's one of those he looks uncomfortable in the makeup. The makeup is practical, but it looks worse, especially in the face. Like something is just off about this makeup. Like it looks cheap compared to the makeup from the first two Hellboy films. And then you have
Well, my question is, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and then
You
you
go ahead
have
first.
like just you have the tone which is clashing, it doesn't work. And CGI monsters and everything. And it seems like it's rehashing a lot of the same things that the first two films did, and it just seems pointless. This is one of those reboots that's like, why? Why is this a thing? Especially when Del Toro and Ron Perlman have been wanting to do Hellboy 3 for years. And the fans have been wanting a Hellboy 3 for years. And instead, we get this fucking bullshit. I mean, what the hell? I mean, is it because, oh, well, Hellboy 2 didn't do very well? The only reason why Hellboy 2 The Golden Army bombed is because it opened alongside the biggest film of that year in The Dark Knight. If Universal wasn't stupid and pushed the film back like it should have, then it would have done better. You can't put no film up against The Dark Knight was going to do that well. Period. End of discussion. So they should not have ever put it up against The Dark Knight. That was their mistake. That being said, I actually paid my money to see Hellboy 2 in the theater on opening weekend when there was a line out the fucking door for The Dark Knight, and I went to see the Hellboy 2. And honestly, I think Hellboy 2 is a better film than The Dark Knight. Very underrated sequel. Then, all honesty, he's pretty much been forgotten about if you think about it.
Hmm. I like the two Hellboy movies, and I don't understand this. The fact that I thought the point of doing a reboot was we're going to have this serious, bloody, R-rated movie from the director of The Descent and Dog Soldiers,
Yeah, Neil Marshall.
and you get a trailer that reminds you of Star Trek Beyond,
Ooh, yeah.
or instead of Beastie Boys. Well, even that was better because the Beastie
Or
Boys song is better than
R.I.P.D.
this song.
No, that's another
Uh,
movie. That's another film.
so we'll get to that, but I, yeah, if you're just going to do the same thing but only worse, why reboot in the first place? Why not just have Ron Perlman come back? Why not have Guillermo del Toro come back? If you don't want to call it Hellboy 3, call it Hellboy Returns or there's better titles, but just
Mm-hmm.
call it Hellboy blank.
Yeah,
What's the point of this reboot? It doesn't if it's serious, then the marketing is terrible.
it
There's
is.
nothing and I don't and with so many goddamn movies, they're comedies nowadays. So it
Mm-hmm.
probably is.
Well,
Because everything's
also,
gotta be a fucking comedy. Because
also,
Marvel movies make money.
yeah. Another thing that I've noticed a lot of trailers lately is just these really shitty choices of songs, right? I mean, this is another one. It had a really shitty song choice. It did not fit the tone at all. Money, 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 money. The Billy Idol song. I want my money, money, money. Might as well be moaning, moaning. Because that's what you'll be doing when you decide to watch this movie. You're going to be moaning, moaning, moaning in pain. Because it's so hellishly awful. Um, yeah, it also like Suicide Squad, that because oh, look, it's like a group of misfits and they need to save the world. Yeah, it's utterly pointless, absolutely 100% pointless. And if you were gonna do like someone brought this up, I thought it was a cool idea, like do like a small scale R-rated film where Hellboy is up against like a group of werewolves or something in Scotland or so something like small scale but R-rated and serious. No. Instead they're just turning the cringe jokes up to 11 and it's just I am not looking forward to that at all. Hellboy
It
2019.
looks like the same looks like the same movie, only worse.
Yeah, it does.
Fighting the big CG monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this time, really bad humor. He's with the organization instead of who's the guy in Hellboy?
Abe Sapien.
John Hurt.
Oh,
It's
oh, oh,
no,
yeah.
it's there's the older guy, John
Oh, it's
Hurt.
Ian McShane is
Who's
playing.
in this guy?
It's Ian McShane is
Yeah.
playing this guy. Yeah.
And I get it, like you're based it on the comic book, but it just looks like the same fucking movie. Didn't he become evil at the end of the first Hellboy? And it looks like in this
Possibly.
one he has the horns as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Based on that, what is so different? What's the point?
There
Like you
is
said,
none.
what's the point?
It's and I don't even think it'd
Is
make that much
Hellboy really going to
money.
make a lot of money?
I don't think it'll make that much money either. Like honestly, I think this has a potential to bomb because the fan base is for the most part pissed off because they're like, you told Del Toro and Perlman to fuck off for this. I mean, really? As far as I'm concerned, Hellboy 2019 can go to hell, hell, hell.
I'll be honest, it'll probably be as much of a bomb as Tomb Raider was.
Yeah.
Because there was another reboot that came out around the same time
Mm-hmm.
and didn't do well.
No.
And it deserved not to do well because it was a lame, shitty movie.
Absolutely.
And I liked the Angelina Jolie one. That was 10 times better.
Yeah, I really enjoy that film too. I definitely think that's an underrated movie in a lot of aspects because it just doesn't get enough praise. It just can like, oh, it's a guilty pleasure movie, and I'm like, there's nothing guilty about that film if you ask me in terms of like legitimately enjoying that movie. Like I think it's, especially when you watch the behind the scenes and see how much of the stunts that Angelina did herself, which is just amazing compared to any of the stuff that Vikander does, who doesn't do anything until over an hour into the movie when she finally starts using a bow and arrow and doing some shit. But by that point in time, it's way too late. That's a whole other story. But yeah, Tomb Raider, that sucked ass too. Speaking of things that are going to suck ass, Men in Black International. Now, the Men in Black franchise is flawed as it is. The first film is awesome. It is one of the best sci-fi action comedies, in my opinion, out there. I just one of the best films of the late '90s. I'm huge fan of Men in Black. I love that film, the first one. The second one, very disappointing, lackluster sequel. The third film is a pleasant surprise that had a nice amount of heart to it, and yeah, there were some flaws, but overall, it was a solid above average movie. This
I agree.
this just looks like a backdoor remake. That's all. That's honestly all. It's just like, let's remake Men in Black, but we'll call it a sequel. But in reality, it's just another fucking remake because the studios are guessing, they're thinking that they can trick people now, and it's kind of working right now. But eventually, it'll get to that point of oversaturation where people are going to pick up on all the signals and be like, no, stop lying to us. It's not a fucking sequel. It's a remake. They started out just doing all these remakes, but now with Jurassic World and its like $1 billion success, now they're trying to do these films like Jurassic World, where it's a sequel, but not really. There's some elements of a sequel there, but it's more of a remake, and this is definitely more of a
Uh,
spin-off if you think about it. Slash
Jumanji.
remake. Yeah, Jumanji, Welcome to the Bunghole. Yeah, that's a perfect example of a backdoor remake as well. Or the upcoming Home Alone remake. Did you hear about that? The Disney and Fox are working on a Home Alone reboot. And the
I'm not
rumors
surprised.
are that Melissa McCarthy and Will Ferrell are involved. And the guys who wrote the David Pumpkins sketch on SNL, which I do find funny, are working on the script. But I'm like, the David Pumpkins sketch is totally different than Home Alone. And also, Melissa McCarthy and Will Ferrell? Ugh.
They're home alone and then diapers. Like, what's the
Are
deal?
they going to be like Marv and
They're
Harry? Marv and Harriet? I guarantee that Google Assistant commercial that just came out with Macaulay Culkin is going to be better than that Home Alone reboot.
yeah.
It's nice to see. Speaking of Macaulay, it's really nice to see him back in not only in the spotlight, but just back in good spirits and everything. That really is a sight for sore eyes because I've been a fan of Macaulay's, ever since I was a kid, because I grew up watching Home Alone and Richie Rich and stuff like that, and then it was just a shame what happened, after Richie Rich and everything. And he was so typecasted that Studios just didn't really want to, give him a chance because they just saw him as this cute kid, and once his looks had kind of his faded and he'd become more of an adult, they never really wanted to give him a shot, and that really sucks. So I hope that he gets another opportunity to stretch his acting muscle, so to speak. My thing is this: if they're gonna do a Home Alone reboot sequel thing, I would honestly love to see Macaulay come back and an adult sort of aspect to it. Either some scenario where he's alone again, but as an adult and has to fend off burglars, or something involving his own kids, but then in the finale he comes back and he teams up with his kid to kick some burglar ass. Throw paint cans at him and stuff like that. See, that would be a better sort of thing to me than something with Will Ferrell and Melissa McCarthy. Like, that's no thank you. But anyway, and of course, if you follow the internet at all, you've already seen the video that he did with the Angry Video Game Nerd, which that was a fun thing that they did. It's kind of what did you think about that? I was a little sort of a hit and miss episode for me.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, it
And
was
then they
okay.
played the Page Master as well.
Yeah, that I liked that better. To be honest, when they played the Page Master together, like that seemed more natural. The humor and the
Yeah.
quips and everything. It seemed like the acting between James and Mac was a little stilted at parts in the Angry Video
Hmm.
Game Nerd video, but it was still a fun video to see those two together. It's a better team up than what we have
Hmm.
here in Men in Black International. Um, like I mentioned earlier, R.I.P.D. Matt and I know all about her. If you like, that was such a rotten piece of shit, and this gave me flashbacks to that, and that's never a good thing. It's not a good sign. Oh, Liam Neeson is in it. Oh, for a
Well, I
paycheck.
mean,
I mean,
he
really.
was in Battleship.
Yeah, he was in Battleship. Exactly.
MIB in this case might as well stand for many insecure bitches. That's what Sony is who are
Yeah.
making it. Sony itself are many insecure bitches,
Mm.
from Ghostbusters to everything else.
Mm.
And they should just fucking shut down and sell their PlayStation to someone else and just fucking throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Them and Paramount.
Because this is another one of those films, just like the
I
Hellboy.
know Disney is a monopoly right
Yeah.
now. I know Disney's a monopoly right now. But they might as well fucking buy Paramount and Sony because they ain't worth a fucking piss in the wind.
Yeah. Or a turd in the wind. So,
Well, yeah, that's another thing.
Venom, a film that inexplicably made close to $900 million worldwide. So, Men in Black International,
Yeah.
just like Hellboy, it looks like the same movie as Men in Black, but this time around, it just looks worse. So you have Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. They were a team in Thor Ragnarok, and so they're a team again in Men in Black International. Once again, trying to get on the Marvel train because we have two actors that were in a Marvel movie, and they're teaming up again, just like they did in that film. And I don't know what it is about. I mean, Chris Hemsworth seems like a nice guy, but if it's not Thor, it's either a bore or it's a sore because it's fucking
Or chore.
or a chore. It just seems like it's just really bad. Vacation. He's just a guy,
Yeah,
a
fucking
douchebag with a giant dick. Ballbusters, the
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters remake. He's just a dumbass.
Black Hat was fucking boring.
Yeah.
One of the most boring Michael Mann movies ever. And I like Michael Mann, but that movie was fucking boring.
So boring you didn't even do a video. Like I couldn't talk about it. It's like
No, because it's like the most boring movie about hackers ever.
yeah. If you want to watch a film that makes hackers look like a masterpiece, I guess watch Black Hat. Am I right?
No, don't watch Black Cat.
Yeah.
You want to watch a movie about hackers? Just watch Hackers.
Yeah. Yeah. So Men in Black International,
That's a fun movie.
there's clearly attempts at just trying to be a remake. There's this one scene where Tessa Thompson walks into the same fucking set in the same room as the first film. You know, when Will Smith walked into that, room, looked like it was not, oh, this is where it is, really? With the giant fan, the vents and shit. It's the same fucking set. She walks in, same fucking set. Of course, you have the whole weaponry and stuff like that. I gotta be honest, the whole thing where he turns the hubcap into a gun, take that's kind of creative, where he has the hubcap and that's like how that's the where you keep the bullets and everything. That was kind of clever. But the whole thing where you press the red button and it makes the car fly, um, it's just like going over the same beats. The dress up, getting into the suit, putting the glasses on.
Well, you were talking about trailers with shitty music.
Oh yeah,
It's another one.
the London Bridge is
I'm
falling
not.
down.
If I want to see, you know what? Just watch the Kingsman movies.
Yeah,
They take place in London and they have creativity. Just watch both of the Kingsman movies. I don't care about Men in Black International House of Pancakes. I don't give a fuck about the movie. It's a
and
stupid title.
yeah,
It's an unneeded reboot, ripoff, and you don't need more Men in Black movies.
yeah. I'd
If
rather
Tommy Lee Will
them.
Smith don't want to do anymore,
Yeah,
just fucking end
I'd
it.
rather them just end the franchise at this point. Like I wish this wasn't a thing. And if they were gonna do something, I was actually pretty curious about the spinoff they were thinking about doing, or the team up with 21 Jump Street, because yeah, it's off the wall, but that's so off the wall it could really work. I mean, having those two, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, who have excellent chemistry and are genuinely funny in a Men in Black film where they're fighting aliens and saving the universe, that could have been really fun. And if you were going to do another Men in Black movie, I would have rather have seen that instead of this, that's for sure. Because that's creative. This is the opposite of that. It's just, oh, it's Men in Black, but it's in London, and we have Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. Oh, it's a girl. And of course, some people are still gonna, they're gonna throw out the whole like, you don't like it because it's got a girl. But no, you think this is the first time there's been a female MIB agent? Did you forget about? I think it was Laura Flynn Boyle. So she was the villain in the second one. What's her name? I can't
Linda
remember her name.
Fiorentino
Linda Florentino. You forget about her? Like she was an agent at the end of the
at
first
the end of
movie.
the first one.
So the one other
It
thing
just
that
looks fucking pointless.
yeah, it looks generic too. The action in the teaser did nothing for me. The plot, oh, London is under attack by aliens, yawn, and the two
Then
leads.
fucking call Gerard Butler because London has fallen.
Gerard Butler versus aliens. I'd watch that. Go for that instead. But
His character from Olympus has fallen. Yeah,
that's the Men in Black spinoff we need. Um, but The other thing that really stood out to me is the lack of chemistry between Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. I personally didn't see any chemistry between those two. It was non-existent. They had more chemistry in Thor Ragnarok, but even that was a little overrated, if you ask me. They're so great together, and I was like, they were okay. Here, they
Right.
none. There's nothing. And I also, speaking of overrated, I don't really care what kind of flack I get for this. Tessa Thompson, I feel, is an incredibly overrated actress. I don't understand the appeal. She sucked in Creed. I haven't seen Creed 2. She probably sucks in that too. She was, I guess, okay in Thor Ragnarok most of the time because she's playing a character who just doesn't give a fuck and, likes to drink. So maybe that's why. But I've never really been that impressed with her. I thought she's just been average at best, really, in terms of her performance. And with Chris Hemsworth, it's Thor and bust and nothing else. Um, and I don't understand why. He seems to be a guy who has charisma. He's, he's got a physical presence. I just don't get it. I don't
Fire
understand.
his fucking agents.
Yeah,
Or stop choosing shitty strips.
that's
Red
the
Dawn is a shitty strip. Cabin in the Woods is a shitty strip. I don't care what anyone says. It was a shitty strip. Black Hat, shitty. Shitty stripped. Ghostbusters, shitty stripped. Vacation, shitty stripped.
yep.
I guess he doesn't know how to read strips.
Apparently not. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say about Men in Black International. Do you have any more thoughts on the trailer for that?
I don't. I don't have no thoughts on International House of Pancakes. I have nothing.
A few more trailers I'd like to talk about. Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer number 2. That was really impressive. I was very impressed with that trailer. I thought it was pretty amazing, but I'm being guarded about it because the two trailers for Godzilla, Goddamn Zilla 2014 were pretty impressive too. So I'm trying to just I'm not buying into the hype. I'm trying not to get too hyped up, but I have to admit that was a really good trailer, and I'm definitely curious about the film. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not all in. I'm not all in. I'm not all in with it, considering the track record with Godzilla.
I, I thought it was okay.
Hmm.
I prefer the first trailer,
Okay.
but I thought it was okay.
Well, that was a great trailer too.
Everyone else loved it. I'm like,
But the the teaser trailer was fantastic too, without a doubt. It definitely looks like
yeah.
a visually impressive film, and but so did Goddamn Zilla. But in that trailer alone, it looked like there was more actual shots of monster fighting. So that's a good sign. Um, but I don't know. It's one of those things that's like, we'll wait and see. And seeing good
I still don't
reviews
understand.
isn't necessarily going to mean that it's going to be good because the reviews for Goddamn Zilla were good too. So
But here's what I don't understand
mm-hmm.
for the future of this, right? Godzilla is going through all this battle, and I think we can guess he's going to win and save the world, right?
Yeah,
Am I correct in that guess?
I would think
Then
so.
how the hell is he going to fight King Kong?
Yeah, that would be a step down.
And why wouldn't people be like, yeah, kill King Kong because this other saved the world?
Yeah, unless the
So is
King
King
Kong
Kong going to be the
one
bad
is like
guy?
a prequel. Maybe it's a prequel to this.
So is King Kong dead? That's why he's not in this new one? Did we already know the winner?
Uh, yeah, they probably should have done the King
And also,
Kong.
that's a hell of a that's a hell of a step down of a fight from King Ghidorah to King Kong.
Yeah, that
And
is.
I like King Kong. Kong's still awesome, but I'm just saying, looking at it, like someone could explain it to me that's like, here's King Ghidorah, three heads with a shitload of lightning. Here's King Kong, he could punch. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it should like I don't know.
I'm
Maybe
just
someone can
imagining
explain
what
it to
I'm
me. It's
imagining one
just
of those like
observation.
those those uh the way that they would like show the size of something. So I'm imagining like a chart like that with Godzilla and King, Ghidorah, and then King Kong is this tiny little speck compared to compared to the two. They must like make King Kong bigger or something. They have to because King Kong at normal size,
Well, I
there's no
guess
way.
because that was in the '70s, so I'm guessing he
Yeah,
grows.
yeah.
But still, it's like, okay, Godzilla is the hero. Obviously, he saves the world. So why would anyone try to root against him and King Kong versus Godzilla?
It's like
You know,
Civil War. It's
which
gonna be Godzilla and King Kong version of Civil War, but I don't know how they're gonna do that because they can't
but
talk.
no one knows King Kong.
Yeah,
No one knows who King Kong is.
yeah.
And it's like again, he goes from fighting a big dragon with three heads
To be honest,
to
the Godzilla versus
a
King
monkey
Kong
who
thing,
punches.
I'd rather them just do Kong 2. Then you solve that problem entirely. Do a Kong
Hmm.
2 that takes place in the 80s or something. And he fights some other monster. There you go. Mecha Kong. No, we don't need the Mecha Kong. That was dumb.
But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Well, it's one of those definitely I'll wait and see type things. Brightburn. This film is asking for a lawsuit from DC, really, to be perfectly honest. The plot sounds very familiar. An alien kid crash lands to Earth in some farm somewhere in the Midwest. He gets adopted by a family, and he has superpowers. What does that remind you of?
Superman.
Exactly. But the twist is he's evil.
So it's Man of Steel.
Even more of a reason why DC should sue. Wait a second, we already did the evil Superman thing.
They're remaking Man of Steel already. Oh, that's a quick remake. It's been less than 10 years.
Other than the evil Superman
Been only a couple years.
plot line, it looked pretty bland to me, the trailer for it. So I don't know. It's like I'm kind of curious about it, but nothing I see in the theater, and I don't have really high hopes for it, or any hopes for that matter. Now, Avengers Endgame, I don't get why everyone's losing their mind over this trailer. I really don't.
Because
Oh,
it's Marvel and it's Avengers.
I guess so. I guess that's all you have to have is Avengers and Marvel, and a large portion of the internet will fucking go nuts over it. I don't get it. It's just one of those things. It's like, oh, Cap doesn't have a beard anymore. And it's just like the trailer. This is what stood out to me. It's dark. Oh no, Tony Stark might die. Cap doesn't have a beard anymore. Oh, look at Thanos' giant shoulder pads hanging on a bunch of sticks. It's one of those. And then it has like, it's this dark, sad, somber tone, and then it has a joke at the end with Ant-Man. And it's like,
That's how most of them are.
yeah.
That's how Infinity War was.
I still haven't seen that yet, folks. I'm going to get around to it. I don't know. I just been kind of, there's other things I've been wanting to watch over it. I gotta be honest. I'm reaching that point with my friend here where I am starting to get that Marvel burnout. It's been 3 phases. It's been 10 years. If you add up all the Marvel films that have come out in 10 years in this franchise, it's a lot. What is it, like 30? 20 at least, or some, it's some crazy ass high amount. At least it feels like it, because they like multiple ones
Hmm.
come out every year compared to another franchise like Star Trek. You know, in between installments, it was like 2 to 3. It was like 2 years. Star Trek 2, 82. Star Trek 3, 84. You know, there was a wait. You waited. You know, you had a chance to savor the other one, and then patiently wait for the next one, and they had more time to put it together, and and more time to
Hmm.
resonate with you. I've started to notice that these Marvel films, because they're coming out so often and there's so many of them, they're not resonating with me anymore. It's like I watch
It's an
them.
assembly line with their own cliches
Yeah.
and beats
Yeah.
that they have to follow step by step.
I just watch it and I'm
It's the
like,
assembly line.
that was fun. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp. And initially after I watch it, I'm like, oh, that was a lot of fun. But then it wears off, and then I'm like, it was fun, but I don't really have a desire to watch it again.
Fun but forgettable.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it for a lot of these Marvel films for me lately. And it doesn't mean I'm like, oh, DC. DC sucks too. It's just they're forgettable as well, but in a bland, boring way half the time. Or just mishmash of tones. There are still some Marvel films that I still think are great. Avengers: Age of Ultron to me is the best Avengers film. Come at me, I don't care. Um, Relentlessly paced, tons of action, and the best villain to date in Marvel, if you ask me, in Ultron, because it's James fucking Spader.
I thought the best villain was Thanos.
I haven't seen, I haven't seen Infinity War, but I don't. I probably won't think he's better than James fucking Spader.
I certainly didn't.
Especially with the whole, oh, feel sorry for Thanos. Why should I? He's basically Space Hitler. Think about it. He is. See, his whole plan is to eradicate like thousands and millions of people. He's Space Hitler. I'm supposed to feel sorry or sad or be like, oh, it's so difficult for him because da 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 da, and oh no, he has to kill his daughter. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't do that. But it's for what he believes in. Hitler believed in fucking, the mass genocide of the Jews. He believed in that too. You feel sorry for him? Oh man, what? Oh man, that plight. It's so rough. Put yourself in his shoes with that choice and that weight on his shoulder. Give me a fucking break. I don't remember that being that much prevalent in the Marvel comics, but I haven't read Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War in a long time. If it was, it wasn't a very
Well,
effective
no, he
storytelling
was.
aspect.
No, it wasn't. It was in the comics. In the comics,
Yeah.
he was. Death was a physical thing. I think death itself was a lady,
Yeah.
and Thanos wanted to impress her.
Mm-hmm.
So let me have this big mass killing. I believe that's what it is. If I'm
Yeah.
wrong, I apologize. But
Uh-huh.
I believe he wanted to have this mass killing of people to impress Death, who was
That's
a
simple,
female form.
but it's a pretty maniacal thing, and it's not trying to make you sympathize or feel sorry for him. So it gets kudos from me for that. But Disney can't have death in their film. An embodiment of death. Not gonna have that. So they come up with this whole like, oh, the weight of the universe on us. I don't fucking give a shit. I'm supposed to care. I'm supposed to feel sorry. That's another problem I've noticed with these Marvel films. I don't know about you, Matt. I think it's a crippling flaw with their villains. They're too fucking sympathetic. And I heard rumors that Mysterio, there's going to be some backstory where he was friends with Peter, and then there was this whole thing, and I'm like, why do we have to do this with Spider-Man now? Where like every villain he ever knew was like he knew somehow, and there was some relationship with them, and blah blah blah. Can it just be like a villain that he didn't really have that strong of a relationship with? I mean, why does it have to be? Oh, he's a former teacher, and then he blah blah blah. I don't need that. I don't need that again in a Spider-Man film. So that's what I heard about Mysterio. I mean, even Michael Keaton was good. He was pretty dang good in Spider-Man: Homecoming, but they still had to do the whole he's doing it for his family and he got screwed over and he's robbing places to put food on the table. Oh, woe is Michael Keaton. Oh, poor Vulture. The villain
And the
in
hell with every single Spider-Man villain.
yeah, the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Well, Carnage isn't. Carnage is a fucking serial killer. Venom, there's some
No, I mean movie
Oh yeah, Venom. There's some sympathy, but
and every Spider-Man movie.
yeah, Spider-Man movie. You're right. That's why it gets kind of tiresome too in the Spider-Man movie franchise, especially. It's like enough with the like, oh, sad sack villains or whatever. Like Sandman's gonna cry. Can we just not? We not do that? And going back to Marvel, like what Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Although I will say he was the only like decent part
He
of that
was.
movie,
He
Spider-Man
was.
3.
He was. I have to admit that.
Honestly,
But
but yeah, but he did too much trying because Peter Parker's a bitch
yeah. So
in that movie.
for the
It's a
Marvel,
whiny
the
pussy.
MCU. So Ant-Man and the Wasp, fun film, but it lacks a legitimate antagonist, if you ask me. Ghost, it's just one of those. Oh, she was screwed over. She was experimented on, and she's not really a villain, but she's doing villain things. And it seems like they're
To
doing that.
cheer herself.
Yeah, they're doing that a lot lately in Marvel. I've noticed, and it seems like a Disney sort of thing. Like, oh, we can't have like a true
Black Panther.
villain. Black Panther's another one. He was denied his heritage. That kind of thing. It's like they always have an out lately with their villains. Which I think is a problem because you know what? I miss the days of the Clarence Bodikers, where he's just a fucking psychopathic asshole who does not give a shit, and he just goes out there and he just loves being bad. That's why I like James Spader because that's a lot.
Or
That's what Ultron was in a lot of ways. Yes, they didn't try to make you feel sorry for Ultron.
right. Or you look at villains like in Cliffhanger.
Quaylen.
Fucking Section 8, Quaylen.
Yep.
You're fucking Section 8. A fucking dirtbag like you. Adios, motherfucker.
Or Dennis Leary in Judgment
Yeah.
Night. These are all villains that, yeah, you can call it cliched, you can call it whatever, but they have an undeniable personality
Well,
and
these villains are cliche.
yeah,
These new villains are cliche.
Well, definitely
It's a
lately.
different kind of cliche, but they're cliche.
And it's not as fun. It's not as
So you can't.
entertaining. At least the cliched bad guy, who's bad, doesn't really have very many explanations for why he's evil other than he's just bad. At least a lot of the best ones,
Okay,
man. What?
let's make a list of the best villains. You have Alan Rickman,
Yes. And Die Hard.
great villain in Die Hard, evil. You
Even as
have
even as sheriff, the sheriff of
okay,
Nottingham in Robin Hood, Alan Rickman in that too.
Darth Vader and the first Star Wars, Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I even mentioned this. People praise the Joker, the Dark Knight.
Jack
He's
Nicholson.
not sympathetic.
Yeah, I mean Jack Nicholson's not sympathetic either, and neither is Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Heath Ledger. So there you go.
So, yeah, I just wanted that's a little rant I had brewing there, and it was a perfect one to kind of drop it though. And it's just some of those things like, yeah, Endgame does nothing for me, and then with Endgame, you're just giving me flashbacks to Highlander Endgame, and that's not a good thing. That is not.
Well, they're going to die like Christopher Lambert did.
Which is another reason why I'm
Right?
like, oh god.
Like, and then there's going to be new people like Black Panther and fucking
But I don't like any
Scarlet
of them
Witch,
as much as
Captain
Cap.
Marvelous.
Captain Marvel, the second trailer, I liked the teaser. The second one left me even more like about the movie. It's one of those like, yay, Captain Marvel. Another film we're pretty meh
Maybe Gwyneth
on.
Paltrow will be the new Iron Man.
No, it'll be that gal, the girl from Black Panther, the tech gal, Riri. But that's not really her name.
Mm.
Riri's the name of the Ironheart or whatever. The current there's an Iron Woman character in the comics right now. I mean, Marvel's so desperate now, folks. In the comics, they're doing this stupid storyline soon where they're gonna like destroy the Marvel universe again. But this time, they're looking at certain particular storylines in these characters' history. Like, when Spider-Man gave up on being Spider-Man, so think about like destroying that or doing something with it. I'm like, didn't they already do that in a What If series? Like, now you're just rehashing and recycling past events that you already fucking did. Like, it was bad enough you did Civil War 2. Now you're doing all this shit. It's just like, ugh.
You know, I know they're canceling all these Marvel shows,
Mm-hmm.
but that'd be a Marvel show to do. The What If show.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
What if the Punisher got the symbiote
Mm-hmm.
and became Venom, or what if
That could be like an animated thing. If you make it
what,
easier, it could be an
what if
animated
Captain
series.
America became the what was it? Oh yeah, what if the Punisher became Captain
Yeah,
America? That was another one. Or
it could be like an anthology series, like an anthology animated series.
yeah, it doesn't even have to be animated,
Yeah,
live
it could
action
be
or
live action
animated. I
too. Yeah.
mean, but they're canceling all the shows, so it don't matter.
Well, it's because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's Netflix. They're the ones doing it." This is my theory, and I think it's
Well, no, Disney wants their fucking Netflix.
yeah,
Disney wants their
it's
Netflix.
pretty legit if you ask me. If you just read between the lines and you're not just sucking Marvel's dick all the time, so much that you've gone blind, I think you'd look at it and be like, "Oh, all right, yeah." Disney's coming out with their own streaming service, Disney Now or Disney Plus or whatever the fuck it's called, and they've already said they want to take out Netflix. And this is a good way to do it. They want them dead. They want all of them dead. They want you to just be, buying their Disney Plus and Hulu, and that's all they want you to do. And this is bad if you ask me. Like, Disney's already a too big of a monopoly in the motion picture industry as it is, and in the streaming industry now. And now, because they've thrown their hat in the ring, now Warner Brothers is. They're gonna have their own streaming platform. Say goodbye to the days, folks. Uh, where you could have Netflix and Amazon or whatever and Hulu and be able to watch your shows and have a variety of different programming that isn't just original shows made by those streaming platforms, because those days are getting very close to ending because of this whole Disney Plus and Warner Brothers streaming platform. How much you want to bet you're gonna have, like, Universal's gonna do theirs and this other shit? You have to pay like $100 or more just to have all the selection, which is why folks like me and Matt, we're actually smart in buying copies of films and movies and shows that we like in hard copies that aren't digital streaming, that aren't glorified rentals. It's a smart thing to do. If you are a fan of a particular show or a film, buy the physical copy. Then you don't have to worry about paying for a monthly fee to all these different other streaming platforms to be able to see it. It's worth sacrificing convenience for for the sake of your pocketbook. For the sake of your bank account. Especially when they're getting cheaper and cheaper now when it comes to getting a physical copy of a film. But what do I know?
Unless it's Stream Factory.
$35 for Get Short.
If it's Stream Factory, you gotta take a loan.
Oh, shit.
$80 for Creep Show, whatever it was. I think it was actually 40, but still, $40 for Creep Show.
That was too much. It was too much. That's another potential thing to talk about. So, I'm gonna wrap up with the trailers by mentioning real quick. Happy Death Day to You. Another pointless film. I liked Happy Death Day, but this is just like the sequel. It's just the same film again, but with like minor differences or something, and she has to go through the whole thing. Excuse me, I guess I got indigestion just thinking about it. This makes me sick. Just I'm sick of the same
the whole
shit.
thing again.
Yeah, it's the same thing. She has to go through the whole thing all over again. But it's a different killer this time. So why should I care?
No, I think it's the same killer.
Oh, it's the same killer.
I think so. I thought that's what they mentioned in the synopsis.
If it's the same killer, then
involves
really?
Time. I mean, maybe it'll be different. Maybe that's the twist, but it's the same shitty chipmunk-looking mask.
Yeah, the baby.
Where the fuck mask that is? Goofy.
It's fucking Baby Huey.
Baby Herman. Whatever the
it's
fuck
Baby
it
Herman.
is.
Yeah, it's Baby Herman. All was missing is the cigar.
So it made the first film pointless then.
Yeah. I don't like sequels like that either.
Well, what was the point of the first film?
There wasn't any.
Some films don't need sequels.
And I don't think
but,
that needed
I know
one.
it made money, but doesn't mean you have to make a sequel.
Yeah. I don't think that needed a sequel, for sure. And some films don't need...
And I don't think it would do well, because I think no one else cares for a sequel, so I don't think it'll do that well. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe horror sells, so maybe it will do well. Even shitty horror sells.
Well, Disney sells too, and even shitty Disney lazy live action reboots sell and sell a lot of tickets. So The Lion King is their next film that they're unleashing. 2019 alone, Matt, they're doing Dumbo, Lion King, Aladdin, and Lady and the Tramp. That's 4 live action, and for Lion King, that's in air quotes. There's nothing live action about the Lion King remake. It's 100% CGI, but they look more like real animals. So that doesn't mean that's not live action. I'm sorry.
You know what looks more like live animals? The zoo.
Yeah.
Just go to the fucking zoo.
And then you have this photorealistic thing, and it just, I'm not really a fan of the photorealistic CGI movies with CGI animals and shit. Um, and I just feel it's just gonna be a
I
train
don't
wreck
give a
if you
fuck
ask
about the
me.
concept.
I'll just watch The Lion King. I'll watch the original Lion King, and the color is bland, and just there's no life to it, and it's fitting because there's really no life to it to begin with. It's just a soulless cash grab by Disney, just like Aladdin, which also looks like shit. And it doesn't matter if Will Smith is blue or not. It still sucks. I mean, the photo of Will Smith as a genie, it looks like Disney was playing off of the meme of Sinbad in that genie movie that never happened. That people like mistakenly remembered existed but got it confused with Kazam.
Oh, I thought that was a remake of Kazam
Well, there's that too.
from Shaquille O'Neal to Will Smith.
From
They're
Robin
remaking
Williams.
Kazam.
Robin Williams to Will Smith. Just
Again, just the concept doesn't interest me when those Disney films still hold up.
yeah.
So I don't give a fuck.
It's a good way to put it.
I didn't give a fuck when they were doing it back in the 90s with 101 Dalmatians
Yeah.
and Glenn Close.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't give a fuck about that movie. I don't give a fuck about this movie.
A film that is really I don't know why this is a thing. Another film that's like really the Shaft movie that's going to come out next year. The one that has like all 3 generations of Shaft. So you have Richard Roundtree and Sam Jackson and Jesse T. Usher from Independence Day Resurgence. Who is the audience?
Do people remember?
Yeah, where is
Do
the
people
audience?
even remember the Sam Jackson Shaft movie?
That's my point. Like, where is the audience for this? So I can't think of it.
There was there was no audience for the Sam Jackson movie because that didn't do well,
No.
at least well enough to have sequels. It was supposed to be a franchise. That film didn't do well,
Mm-mm.
and that was Sam Jackson. What year 2000 it came out?
Yeah, I think that might be it.
And that film bombed. And that had, Sam Jackson and Christian Bale and all these other people in it.
Oh, this is rich, Matt. Todd McFarlane. This is we actually this is a real quote, folks, from Todd McFarlane. He wants critics over the age of 16 to leave the movie Venom alone.
Why?
I don't know. He was. You shouldn't be talking about that movie or criticizing it if you're over the age of 16.
Why?
I, I have no idea. Todd McFarlane.
He's over the age of 16, so why is he talking then?
It's one of those things where like you just
Sorry, I don't like a fucking movie with a fucking guy swimming in lobster tanks
yeah
and a fucking Venom that becomes a good guy for no reason, and all
yeah
that happens is he gets bossed to go into a fucking car and then shot in a hospital to leave,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm a
I want
good
to
guy
stay
now
here.
for
Yeah.
no fucking reason. Because I'm want to be Eddie Brock's gay lover. I don't fucking know. Because I want to bang Eddie Brock in the ass with a symbiote dildo. I don't fucking know. And if that's the way they want to go, then they should have gone for that. I'd give it applause. Instead of pussyfooting around with it, or whatever the fuck they want to
yeah.
do. There's nothing wrong with that. Then do with it.
Huh.
Don't have this shitty writing that has no explanation, shitty CGI infights, shitty humor, trying to be a comedy and failing,
A pathetic
weird
villain.
fucking accent. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy couldn't pick what fucking accent he wanted.
No.
It was New York, but yeah.
He can't do
I'm more
American
New York than Tom Hardy.
accents. He can't do it. He's physically
I'm
incapable
more
of
New
doing
York
it.
than Tom fucking Hardy.
I could just my Andrew Dice Clay impression
You
would be
shit.
more believable.
Anyway, that's another thing, but Tom McFarlane has no reason to talk considering all the shit he's saying about the new Spawn movie.
That film sounds like a train wreck in the making. It really does. Jamie Foxx's Spawn.
The fuck does Tom McFarlane do in the last 10 years?
Not much of anything. And I guess he's gonna direct the Spawn film, which I'm like, oh great. Well, that's gonna. He hasn't directed anything ever, except maybe some episodes of the Spawn HBO series, but like that's different. So, yeah. Uh, and Venom, I see that film. It's Venom in name only, really, when you think about it. There's no Peter Parker connection. The reason why the symbiote connects with Eddie is there's no symbiotic relationship. It's just random. And there's no iconic white spider on his chest because there's no Spider-Man connection. So it's like, why make it Venom? Why didn't you just do a different, call it something else, like Prototype or something, and do your own thing? Oh, it's because you can just write the laziest script possible and just slap a well-known name and a character in Venom on it, and that's good enough. Because we're in the age of lowered expectations, where a huge, large chunk of the audience have expectations that are low. Oh, the CGI. Oh, cause some cool scenes with Venom. Oh, you forget that fight scene with the SWAT team. He bites some heads off. This movie's awesome.
I don't remember him biting heads off.
Yeah, it was like one little thing. And it was just very forgettable because it's PG-13. Like, how can you really get away with that?
That's why I didn't remember it.
And one other film, there's just so many movies that are, in the works that are just like, why? You could just have, like, the poster and then just have why as the tagline. The Sonic the Hedgehog live-action film. Why?
Was the steroid legs?
I don't. It's one of those like I don't understand why. A Duke Nukem film in today's generation.
Why are late steroids? Why is his legs roided up?
Because he runs
He's
real
been taking
fast.
steroids. Oh, so it's a realistic movie about running hedgehog. It's a realistic movie then.
Yeah, why not? Uh,
Oh, it's Paramount. So the same guys did Ninja Turtles movies. Okay.
yeah, definitely. That's
Tim
what.
Miller,
That's what.
right? This is
Yeah.
probably why fucking Ryan Reynolds fired him from Deadpool 2.
So, yeah, just why is that a thing? Jim Carrey playing Dr. Robotnik, like, Jim, that's just a paycheck for him. I mean, clearly.
Yeah.
Another adaptation that's like why of a video game, Duke Nukem. And they brought up on the Assassin's Creed producer, the guy who produced one of the most recent terrible, bad adaptations of a video game. You're going to have him produce the Duke Nukem film. With rumored John Cena as a possible star. And yeah, I won't be able to see him because I won't watch that fucking movie if John Cena is in that film.
Yeah, I'll pass.
And one more thing I want to talk about with news related stuff, and then I'll get into maybe a couple like upcoming Blu-ray releases and stuff like that. The Predator. If the Predator movie was bad enough, I mean that's you think, oh, that's bad enough. It defaces the franchise literally. Now the advertising for the Predator is just turning the Predator into an even bigger joke. The Predator is showing up on NFL and Fox promos. Terry Bradshaw and Howie Long are doing their shtick where they're looking at a play and they're drawing things on the screen and they're using a laser pointer, and then three dots show up and they're like, "Whoa, what is that? I don't have three laser points." And then a fucking Predator shows up. A Predator shows up on NFL and Fox with Terry Bradshaw and fucking Howie Long to promote The Predator on Blu-ray. And then we have a stupid holiday special, stop motion, where the Predator is fighting Santa Claus and killing reindeer. And then you have some Nerdist thing, which this one really hurt because it's a tie-in with the YouTube channel The Nerdist, based on a website, I think. And there are these, I guess they're the employees who work there, who are all bad actors, by the way, and they're having some Christmas party, and this girl apparently gets a Predator helmet for some fucking reason at this Christmas white elephant party, and her friends are trying to get her to, like, I don't know, maybe this isn't, a good thing, blah blah blah. Predator shows up, uh kills a guy. A group of army men show up, and I shit you not, folks, in this video, two of them are played by Andre Gower and Ryan Lambert, who played Sean and Rudy in the Monster Squad. So you already have this cringe-inducing, really bad sketch with nothing legitimately funny or laughable about it in any way whatsoever. The Predator fucking shows up. For some reason, he's got a fucking Santa Claus hat tied around his waist. I don't fucking know why. And Ryan Lambert does the whole bang thing with the Predator and gets his ass kicked. Yes. And then Sean, Andre Gower shows up. They do this whole thing when they first show up. They say, "We're the Monster Squad." but then they say no, we're the army, we're badass army men, and they're nothing. They're just. It's just sad. It's sad. It's not. It's sad and pathetic seeing the Predator in this light, and also seeing the fucking Monster Squad in this light. Seeing Andre Gower and Ryan Lambert, these sad men, these sad old men playing dress up, and then saying their lines from the Monster Squad in the most tired, just sad, pathetic way possible. Just absolutely not even giving a shit. Like one take, lazy ass fucking shit. And Andre Gower says he goes up as a Predator, and it looks like he might have him in a compromising situation, and he's all like, "Hey asshole, you looked," and then he gets stabbed, and then he does a stupid bit afterwards where he's like dying, and he's like, "Oh, maybe I should have waited to say the line after." And he fucking dies, and then the Predator leaves when the stupid bitch finally gives him back his helmet. And then I'm just like, and then there's some reason there's some military guy covered in fucking mayonnaise at the end. I don't understand this. I mean, the Predator is a fucking joke now, folks. It's a fucking pussy. Doesn't just have a pussy for a face. It's a literal pussy. And it's sold out.
You sold out. You sold
sold
out.
out. You sold out.
You sold
Sold
out.
out.
ECW. ECW. ECW.
Love to throw a chair at the fucking guys at Fox who decided to fucking make this shit. Shane Black and Fred Decker. Shame on you. Fred probably got Andre Gower and Ryan Lambert to star in that fucking stupid ass fucking short too. God, you ruined. I'm just speechless, Matt, that I watched a video like that. I was like, oh, that could have been cool. The Monster Squad could have showed up and kicked some ass. No, it's fucking lame. Ruined the Predator and the Monster Squad in the same video. I'm never gonna look at the Predator the same way after all these fucking stupid fucking spin-offs. So the Predator, the Predator, and then this stupid fucking advertisements that do not sell the film at all. If anything, if you saw these things, you'd be like, I ain't fucking buying that fucking movie, that's for sure. So, speaking of buying movies,
Comedy.
yeah, let's talk about films that actually looking forward to buy. Now, before I do that, I want to get your thoughts on Scream Factory, on their whole price hiking and their whole deal right now. Like, what are your
They're
thoughts?
full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
They're full of shit, and they know they're full of shit. And they don't feel like they have to do anything because people buy regardless. So they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yep. And to me, it's a fall from grace. And honestly, they're doing so many shameful things that from now on, I'm just going to call them Shame Factory. It's just shame on you, Scream Factory. You're jacking up these prices. Your reasoning to me is bullshit. It's all like apparently they got on a podcast and they didn't actually say this, but the guy who runs the podcast came to their defense, but they did nothing to really say anything otherwise. So if you ask me, my best bet and my best guess is that they think the same way. That, well, oh, our Blu-ray distributor, the manufacturer shut down, so that's why we've had so many delays and so on and so forth, because we've had to go overseas. I don't buy that anymore because I thought that other companies were going to have the same problems. Because I thought the Batman Animated Series Blu-ray box set was going to get delayed, and it came out on the release date. All these other companies, even smaller companies like Vinegar Syndrome, they're not having issues like this. When they announce a release date, it comes out on the fucking release date, and people order it, pre-order it, and the deluxe editions don't have to wait 2 weeks or more to get their fucking product. And the prices are pretty decent, even for their limited edition slipcover releases. And I've gotten a couple of Vinegar Syndrome releases, and I have to be honest, their slipcover game is on fire. And I could see why people want to get the limited edition stuff, because they do such a good job with their slipcovers, and they're such high quality that it is like a fun little thing. Like it's honestly like a work of art in itself, just their slipcovers. I mean, they're that impressive right now. I gotta give them huge props. Um, and Scream Factory, I think they used to be like when they first started out. It was a nice, wow. It was a new up and coming company that was appealing to a niche audience of hardcore horror fans and delivering these really great releases with solid transfers and a surprising amount of features. And then they started to get big, and then they got even bigger. And now they're running into instances where they're running out of things to release because they're having all these other competition. They have Kino Lorber who's eating into their potential catalog. You have companies like Vinegar Syndrome, and Synapse, and Blue Underground, and Arrow Video, who's now in the U.S. And Arrow Video, in my opinion, is the new king of physical media when it comes to this niche horror market. Their product is second to none. And they don't really have that type of delays like Scream Factory does. And they don't have excuses like Scream Factory does. And okay, you're having delayed release dates. All right. That doesn't excuse sending out scratched discs or damaged product to people repeatedly, time after time and time again. How many times do you have to keep fucking up a simple process of just shipping a fucking lithograph to people, for fuck's sake? Fix your shipping. Why does it keep getting fucked up in shipping? It can't just be all the post office's fault. Because there's a lot of fucking lithographs that are getting fucking torn and ripped. I don't think it's just the post office. And then that thing too, it's like you're charging these consumers like this crazy amount of money for these limited edition sets. Like, oh, $60 for, oh, you can get the thing collector's edition, but with 2 slipcovers and 2 posters. You're charging people up the ass for paper. And yes, people are willing to pay it. But how does that make you look? You look like a greedy motherfucker. That's what it makes it look like. And they didn't start out like that. And I'm thinking that with the Nightbreed box set, which I was a sucker and I paid for, and I gotta be honest, it is not worth $80. That was their first limited thing, and it sold out, and it was a success, and they got a taste of that. And then in the next upcoming year, they just started running away with it with these limited sets. Buy pre-ordered on our website, and you get a limited lithograph, and you get a slipcover, and you get a shitty-looking toy of Eric Freeman. Have you seen what that looks like, Matt? That toy, that action figure of Eric Freeman that you're paying deluxe prices for, looks cheap as fuck and looks like something out of a Robot Chicken sketch. Not worth it. Not worth the fucking money. And then you have the instance where people had the Trick or Treat Blu-rays and they'd come late and the disc would be scratched. And then some people would get a refund and a rebate to get another one and other people wouldn't. So there's inconsistency there. And now they're releasing all these titles, and some of them are like, why are you wasting your time with Blu-rays of Demented and fucking bullshit like that? And then they do the Shout Select thing, where now they're spinning off and doing these other releases so they can continue to milk the MGM catalog. That's really what this is. And a lot of the releases really aren't much of anything. And they're charging crazy prices. They're charging you $25, $30 for like City Slickers collector's editions or whatever that only have maybe a couple new features versus the Blu-ray that already came out. And like the same transfer. What's the point? And then you have the whole Creepshow thing, which I love that movie to death, but that was a ripoff. $40 for a cheap as fuck slipcover. I'm sorry, that hardback is cheap as shit. It feels cheap. It has barely any weight to it. And, oh, you get a little booklet. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Arrow gives me a booklet in almost every release they make. And it's not some exclusive thing. And, oh, okay, so you have the booklet. You have the 4K transfer. That looks great. I'll give it that. But the extra features are not much of anything. And you're charging $40 for that. Rip off. That should have been $20-25 on retail. Nothing more than that. And then they're doing this whole thing where they're fucking over small businesses. And when you start doing that, that's just shame. Shame on you, Scream Factory. Shame. Fucking over small businesses. Forcing them to charge ridiculous prices that their user base will never pay. And that they can't afford anyway because they have to get, the product in. And if you're asking them to sell it for some crazy amount of money, it's costing them a lot of money just to get that product. And then you're asking them to sell it for the fucking exorbitant prices, they're not going to be able to sell it. Yes, they're coming out with some titles that I'm looking forward to, like Warning Sign and Screamers and The Craft. But to be honest, I'm never buying from them direct again. Their shipping sucks. Their customer service sucks. They don't give a fuck about you. All they want is the money in your wallet. And whoever is in charge right now of this company has done more than enough to be fired, if you ask me. And if it's the same people who were in charge from the beginning, that's just sad. It really is. It's Anchor Bay all over again. I'm waiting for the moment when Scream Factory or Shout gets bought out by some other big fucking company, and the days of Scream Factory are long gone. Like I'm just waiting for that moment. And they need to realize, and they need to eat some humble pie, if you ask me, quick, because they are no longer the only shop in town that's coming out with these type of niche releases. I mean, you got Scorpion releasing. They're coming out with Ritual soon. They're going to come out with Deep Space, which I'm really looking forward to. Matt and I have been hoping for a release of that film on DVD, let alone Blu-ray, for years. And yes, there are some competitors that are going down, like Code Red recently. Their store was shut down because Bill had some kind of disagreement with somebody. And I'm not surprised, because everything I've heard about this guy who ran Code Red, everything I've heard about this guy sounds like a dick. This guy's a dickhole. That's what I keep hearing about this guy. Like, everything about him just screams dickhead. So I'm not surprised that something happened and his store got shut down. Maybe it'll stay shut down, and the films that he has the rights to can go to somebody else. So yeah, as you can hear, folks, like I've had this building up in me for a bit. Just shame on you, Scream Factory. You used to be all about the fans, and now you're doing it in the guise of it. You're doing all this like in the guise of fan service. And it's getting and your features are getting worse. Your transfers are getting like meh, and you're charging more money for a product that is not even remotely worth the price tag, especially compared to other competitors. Arrow Video's release at Waterworld, 2-disc limited edition coming out soon. It's like $27 to pre-order right now. You can get the UK exclusive release of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, for a lot cheaper than any of the newer upcoming Scream Factory releases. And, you know, if you have a region-free player, you can play it, but if you don't, you're kind of screwed. But that's a whole other thing entirely. But just shame on you, man. It's tragic, if you ask me. Do you have anything, man?
No, you said it best. Took all the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not gonna bow down to Scream Factory. I'm not gonna, just suck their dick all the time. I appreciate all they've done and what they're gonna continue to do, but when there's bullshit, there's bullshit. When something stinks, when something smells, you should say something about it. And just because you're a consumer and you actually do buy the product from time to time, that doesn't mean you should have to put up with this shit. It's like when you go into a favorite restaurant. It's your favorite restaurant. You've been there for years, man, and it was just great service and great food. And now the service is starting to suck. The food is spotty. It's like hit and miss. You're still gonna go back every now and then because of loyalty, because of how because you everything that you put into it, because you hope that they're gonna get their shit together. But it doesn't mean that they will. But you also shouldn't just continue to go every day and buy every single fucking thing on the menu and give them everything that you have just because of the good times in the past and because it was good before. That's not a good idea to do either. If you are like me and you think they're starting to slip, show them how you feel with your pocketbook, with your paycheck, with the money in your wallet. Don't buy direct from them. That's where they make most of their profit, is from direct stuff. Don't do their overpriced deluxe edition bullshit. They're not even following through on their 2-week early shipping thing that they keep talking about lately. So why pay for that extra money? And if you can, and you have a small business around you, like Grindhouse Video or some place like that sells these type of Blu-rays and so on and so forth, get it from them if they have it in stock. Or buy from diaboliquedvd.com, or if you have to do with Amazon, do that. Don't buy direct from Scream Factory anymore. They don't deserve it. So that's my spiel. In terms of other upcoming releases, we mentioned Deep Space, and there's Warning Sign, and there's Screamers and stuff like that. I can't really think of anything else at the top of my head unless you have anything that you wanted to mention in terms of an upcoming release on home video.
It's not that I'm interested in, but in case others are interested, Man's Best Friend is coming out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, from Scream
with
Factory.
Lance Henriksen and Ali Sheedy. What was it? Born in East LA.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to be a collector's edition with Cheech Marin.
And the collector's edition thing, like, do you want to elaborate on that? Because I think that'd be a fun thing for you to maybe elaborate on a little.
Yeah, a lot of times the collector's edition is horseshit. Like Cobra coming out in January, and it's not really much of a collector's edition because you just did a couple interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Interview with Brian Thompson, interview with Andrew Robinson, interview with Art LaFleur. Um, interview with the guy who was the robber at the beginning, and interview with the girl who was a turncoat. She was a top, but she was working with the bad
You
guys.
predicted that. You were like, you're
Yeah,
gonna interview that lady, right?
I mean it's one of those things where yeah, I knew they were not going to get Stallone. They didn't. I knew they were not going to get the uncut footage. They didn't. And a lot of times you look at this shit, you go, why are you selling this for 25 or so bucks when you get the Blu-ray for less than $10 on
Yeah.
Amazon right now?
Mm-hmm.
Transfer's not going to be that different because it's an 80s movie. Transfer on the Blu-ray is not even that bad in the first place.
No.
Some of these other actors, they're good in the film, but they barely did much in the film. So what are they going to talk about? I'd be surprised if it was longer than 10 minutes apiece.
Yeah. Brian Thompson seemed to just shit talk the film or people in it most of the time. So that doesn't seem like a very fun interview,
Mm-hmm.
at least for me personally. Um, compare it, speaking of shit talking, Leviathan was not marketed as a collector's edition. So this is more of a recent thing they're starting to do, where they're starting to come up with collector's editions that aren't really worth the title, and that's troublesome. That's just another example of them just using and abusing the consumer. It's like what,
It's a
uh,
gimmick
yeah, it's a
for
gimmick
marketing.
now. It's a marketing gimmick now. It's like the 25th anniversary edition. You know that bullshit. We're like, oh, it's a 20th anniversary edition, 25th anniversary edition of The Rocketeer with 0 features. I'll at least give them this. They give you some features, but it's not worthy of the collector's edition label. And even some titles like aren't worthy of it anyway, like Surfing the Rainbow. That shouldn't even been called a collector's edition. This is easily one of the most disappointing collector's editions that they've come out with. Hands down.
It, yeah, it is.
And with Cyborg, they didn't get that much with that either. And with Cyborg, it's like you couldn't get Van Damme, but MVD was able to get Van Damme. Why were you not able to get Van Damme? A company that it just started up was able to get Van Damme, what, like twice?
I have a feeling that's because he doesn't want to talk about Cyborg because that's where the incident happened
Oh, okay.
with the guy who got cut in the eye
Oh,
with a knife.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay.
He probably doesn't want to talk about stuff like that. Then he got like sued or like the guy decided to sue later
Oh, well, that's the first time I heard about that.
when
I
it
mean, that's
became more famous.
understandable. That's understandable if Sean Collide doesn't want to do the interview with Cyborg because of that. Stallone
I
is
mean, I'm
not
guessing, or
surprising.
maybe he's not proud of. No,
Stallone doesn't even do interviews for the Rocky
no, Stallone's
series or new interviews for Rambo. Well, speaking of Rambo, we can just end that. Rambo, The Last Blood. It ended
I
perfectly with
don't
the
care.
last one. It ended perfectly with Rambo 4. He full circle, he's got the duffel bag. He's back home. I don't want to see Cowboy Rambo, Rhinestone 2. I just it's going up against a cartel. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, compared to Escape Plan 3 and Backtrace, like maybe I'll give it a watch one day. Here's my thing with this film. If it's got hardcore graphic violence like Rambo and they don't do any bullshit, Rambo's sick or Rambo's dead or gonna die at the end or any of that shit, maybe it might be a time waster, but at the same time, it's like it ended so well. It's like, why don't you just do a different movie? Why don't you just have a film where some other character, not named John Rambo, goes up against a cartel featuring Stallone, or do the Hunter script? I'd much rather see that. Just milking these franchises of every last drop. Rocky, Rambo. And Stallone doesn't have that much time left. He's not a spring chicken, folks. So, it seems like a waste to me. Very talented actor,
Yeah.
underrated, and I just seeing him in shit like Backtrace is just and Escape Plan 2 and 3 and the Rambo the Last Blood, it's just sad. He really couldn't get any other big roles. Nobody's given him a chance. In like a dramatic film. But then again, it ties into the whole thing where, you get to a certain age and a lot of people don't want to really cast you anymore in Hollywood. It seems to kind of be how it is. Rambo the Last Blood might be the last film that he is in that gets a theatrical release. He said he's done with Rocky, essentially. He doesn't want to do it anymore with the Creed films, supposedly. He's done with Rambo after this. Supposedly.
He was done with Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't The Last Blood. It'd be like in his 80s, he's like 90 years old, and it's Rambo, Grandpa Rambo over here at this point.
Rambo, old blood.
Old blood. Fuck. It's like
I can't have any enthusiasm.
Life imitating a parody.
Because what has he done for the past 8 years?
Life imitating a parody, Matt. All the parodies about old Rambo and old Rocky.
Yeah. I can't have any enthusiasm. Just what has he done for the past 8 years worth of shit?
It's like Schwarzenegger too is in the same boat.
Sorry, folks.
It's like what has Schwarzenegger done other than
I'm a fan, but I'm a fan, but I'm looking at it on a realistic front. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna bullshit.
It's sobering.
I enjoy the guy. That doesn't mean I'm going to kiss ass.
I don't think that would be fair to Stallone or Schwarzenegger anyway, to just kiss ass. I mean, you don't kiss Seagal's fat ass despite, some really good movies early in his career. Or Bruce Willis.
Right.
Why should Stallone and Schwarzenegger be any different?
To kiss Seagal's ass.
Yeah, it's too big. And then you got a guy like Dolph Lundgren who keeps churning out films, but never got the opportunities that even Seagal got, really, which is a shame. And was he
right?
How was he in Creed 2? Was he performance-wise okay?
he was Drago but old.
Yeah.
I mean, Ivan Drago, I liked him in Rocky Four, but it's not even in my top five favorite Dolph performances.
Yeah.
I would put Ito and Peace above it. I put Sergeant Andrew Scott above it. I
Yeah,
put Men of
definitely.
War above it. I put The Punisher above it.
Hmm.
Showdown Little Tokyo above it.
Not the
Even like
Minion,
Red Scorpion above it.
which is getting a Blu-ray release of all
No, but
things. Did you hear about that? The Minion from Kino Lorber.
nah, I didn't
The
know.
fucking Minion. Maybe they think that it has Minion in the title, that the fans of Minions will actually, blind buy it or some shit for their kids. But yeah, it's for you especially, because Rambo, that's in your name and part of your identity,
Yeah,
part of who you are, and it's a sobering realization, that I think it's done. I think Stallone's time has passed.
yeah, rooted for him back in 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Bullet to the Head, Expendables 2, Expendables 3, all this other shit. And it just, they sucked. They were horrible. Fucking hate Estate Plan. I hate Estate Plan 2 even more. I hate Grudge Match. It's been the worst cycle of Stallone movies.
Yeah, to be honest,
It
I
really
would say,
has.
yeah, it has been worse than his worst cycle previously, which didn't last that long. I mean, even in like the period where he was doing Paradise Alley and Fist. Fist was good. Paradise Alley was not really that great, but at least there was some ambition behind it, and there was, I don't know, and it seemed like some passion behind the project. Can't say the same about some of his latest films that he's done, for sure.
Yeah,
So it's one of
very
those
true.
things where I feel you, because I'm a huge fan of Stallone too, and I feel the exact same way. And you know, when it comes to RoboCop and things like that, like I'm not excited for RoboCop Returns. Why should I be? Seeing all the shit that this character is has been put through and been drugged through over the past decades. Why the fuck should I be excited for another RoboCop? Especially if the last one was fucking RoboCop. Oh, Neil Blomkamp is a hit and miss guy. District 9, great movie. Elysium, disappointing. Chappie, eh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Peter Weller, like he's not gonna do it.
No, I think he even said he's not doing it.
Peter Weller won't even talk about RoboCop for the RoboCop documentary, which may or may not be coming out in 2019. By the way, RoboDoc, which
I think Peter Weller did confirm he's not doing the
mm,
new RoboCop. I
feels
think
like
he did
Robo Blue
confirm that.
Balls to me. That
So
fucking documentary coming out 2017.
there's a Beetlejuice documentary
Yeah,
being made.
and that one actually looks like it's going to come out pretty soon because they actually have a little bit more like legitimate guys behind it. That's a whole other thing. But real quick with the RoboDoc thing, because Stallone, big fan of Stallone, big fan of his characters, big fan of Rambo, but not really looking forward to the new one, and not looking forward to RoboCop Returns. But I've been really looking forward to RoboCop, the RoboDoc, the RoboCop documentary. I mean, look at all these different features, all these different interviews and everything. Like the most extensive RoboCop documentary ever. Like Never Sleep Again, but with RoboCop. I didn't have the money at the time to do the Kickstarter, so I wasn't able to do that, and if I did, I'd be even more pissed right now, because I'd be like, it's been fucking 2 years at this point, close to it, 2 goddamn years. That's too long to wait for a project that was supposed to be like almost finished. This company who's making these documentaries needs to change their fucking process. And if you don't think it's gonna be ready by the deadline, don't say like coming 2017. Say TBD. You ever heard of that? To be determined, which means we're working on it. We think it might be out by this time, but we're not 100% sure. Instead, they've been coming out with these release dates, saying this, and they're doing the same mistakes, because they did this with the Fright Night documentary. It's coming out then. It's coming out. No, it's not. No, it's not. Now it's ready. And then try to get it sent out to people, and then they have delays with that. So this company kind of sucks, if you ask me. And now they come out with this exclusive package where they're like, oh, pay $200 or thousands of dollars to get a VHS copy version of the film that looks like a VHS in a VHS box. And they're like, oh, we did that because there was some, big name people who wanted to get in on it. And we need to raise a little bit more money to digitize these rare photos and shit we found. And then I read somewhere that one of the producers, was like, yeah, we have enough to release it, but we want to get this. I'm like, fucking Leigh Whannell, who did Upgrade, wants to talk about RoboCop. I don't give a fuck what he has to say about RoboCop. What the fuck is he going to say about RoboCop that's going to be any different than anything that Matt or what we're going to say about the film? Nothing. What the fuck is he going to have to offer when it comes to RoboCop? Does he have any insights? Does he have any behind the scenes shit? No. You're wasting people's time.
He's going to compare it to his film Upgrade. That he directed.
Yeah.
He directed Upgrade, so he's going to compare the two.
Yeah. What's the point? It's pointless. All these photos and shit. Fucking wait. At this point, I don't even know if it's a part one of the documentary or they're putting it all in one package. I have no fucking clue. I heard rumors that it's going to be split into parts, and then that those have, from the producers, and then they didn't really necessarily 100% confirm them. And now they have this, the trailer went viral, and now we have like all this other shit in 2019. I don't even know if I buy that 2019 release date at this point. I'm sick of having Robo Blue Balls. I want Robo Doc. For fuck's, if it's just part one.
Well, that's not the year. That's how many parts it's going to be. 2019.
I just want, if it's just going to be part one, just give me a taste at least, for fuck's sake.
They had the trailer. There's your taste.
And stop doing like 50 other documentaries at the same time. That might be another problem. Another reason why you're having all these delays. We're doing the Night of the Demons documentary and the Police Academy documentary and the It documentary. Can you just finish one fucking documentary first and then go on to the next one? That's a novel concept. I know. So I'm gonna
still not as bad as that Ninja Turtle documentary.
No, the definitive history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Where's that part 2, Matt?
80% of the history is missing.
Where's that part 2?
It's where Robodoc is. It's in the black hole of Robodoc.
Oh shit. So anyway, once again, I gotta thank my good friend for joining me. Got nothing else to add. I hope you enjoyed this jam-packed, double-stuffed episode of Celluloid Nation. And until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.